What's up guys, it's Jason again. Today we're going to continue explore in the construction tool. We have talked about the walls and also the ceilings. Today we're going to show you some detailed explorations about the pavement of the flooring, everything about the floor. Let's get to it. First we enter the floor editors. When you're in the floor editor, you'll notice the same thing, which very similar to the wall editors. We have a 3D window and a 2D plan view. This is where you could apply the floor finishes from the left side panel, just like you would apply all kinds of finishes to the wall. But first, let's erase everything. Clear? So we don't have anything. I would like to show you how you can divide the floors using the line tools. It's very easy. And similar, escape out, and similar to the wall, once you draw a line, it automatically separates into two different surfaces. And this is where you can drag and drop different tile finishes. Or if you want a carpet on one side and tile on the other side. We do have different floor and the stone finishes. But then as I click on this, each finishes, it will show the paving options, which you can change to different types of paving, staggers, herringbone, which is not super obvious here. And also another thing is you could also rate it, believe it or not. Choosing the array tool, and you can see what it can do is similar to the arraying on the wall panel. You can also array your floor patterns. Let me just delete one of those arrays. So and change this to a wood flooring, so it's more obvious. Right, so since if I change the patterns, it changes with it. So when you click on the wood flooring, let's go over the left side panel real quick. You do have the control of the paving options, whether you want a paving start from the upper left corner or start from the middle. This works really well if you have a square tile. So let me find one here. Say you have this square tile, and then if I click on it, when you go to the center piece, you can see the tile start paving, start a pavement from the center of this area. And you can choose offsetting using the real dimensions to do a more accurate control. And later I'm going to show you how to manually tile those floors. If you go to the gap, there is two options. One is called a real gap, the other one is false gap. So the only difference between those two is the real gap actually represents the real dimensions. So if I select the real gap and I drag it all the way to 0.4 inches, this actually pushes the tiles apart and calculates this into the actual overall pavement skin of the floor. And in the gap, you can also check usually the groove color. You can either change it to different color. And also there's also options here. When you click on materials, you can change this to an existing material like bright gold or this brown coffee color. This will be very similar to the color you chosen, but it's just another way of adding and altering the material of the grouting. If you go to the patterns, you can see you can also specify slotting. Slotting just means you would like to slice the tile for even smaller patterns. So if I show you here, if you change this to 6, it's gonna cut each tile into 6 pieces. So now you have a bit of rectangular tile. Same thing if I change it to 0 from a horizontal slot. This will also cut the tile. And you can also use them at both time. And this works extremely well if you have very specific patterns that you would like to create for yourself. But for now here, we're not going to need any of this. Click on the floor and go to the face editor. This is a one level down, just like in the inceptions. When you click on it, this shows you even more detailed options on your manual toolbar, which you don't see on the upper level. So the left side is pretty much the same, which we could ignore here. But here you can first go to grid snapping. This is where you could align your tiles. Like, so if you choose like manual snapping, you should click on the intersection of the line, and then click on where you would like to be snapped to. This actually helps you to move the tile manually. The entire pavement scheme changes with it. So escape out. I usually don't use the first smart pair of seams. It doesn't work that well. So I recommend just using a manual pair of seams. Right. Another feature I like to talk about, you can add a border tile, whether inward or outward. You know, so it's pretty straightforward. Once you click on the border tile, it shows the option whether you want a mitered edges or you want a corner tile edges. And you can also control it by using the this dimension here. Say if you want a 6 inches offset, you can see the seam actually moves with it. Also, there's a gap that's between the corner tiling of it. So if I drag it to be bigger, let's see the gap actually increasingly bigger because of this. And also you can change the material again to golden bright yellow color, so this looks a bit, you know, imperial like. By clicking on this floor tile, it shows you another option, which is select a lower level. This is actually allows you to select individual tiles, which is really interesting, because you want to select individual tiles, you can actually swap the tile to different material. Do you see what I did here? And this applies to all kinds of wood floorings and provides you much more flexibilities of how many tiles that you would like to add to the floor. And also by clicking on the side, the border tile, let me see, you can, let me just escape it out first. Go to the face editor, click on the border tile, and click on select lower level. And here, this is where you can manually pair the seams. For example, if you want those two seams to line up, this is what I do. I click on the seam and move it back. So notice you probably need to plan your seam ahead of time, since if you can see that I have less seams on the border tile than the actual seams we have on the main tile part. And also if I escape out and I select on each border tile, I believe there is a way you could actually change the patterns as well. So see, this tile pattern has already been changed. And I can also change the pattern, like if I just change this one side of the tile. So you can also play with it to create a different border tile pattern as well. Okay, if I escape out, and then in here you also see, besides changing individual tiles using this actual tools, you can have other common commands like clear. You can also add a chair rail molding. What this does is it actually divides the spaces. It has a preset molding here, and you can change this molding. But this command was used mostly on the wall to have create a wainscot effect. So on the floor right now, we can just use it, but it's not necessary. You can also rotate the tile directions, which is quite convenient, and you can keep adding border tile if you want it. So I just add another layer of the border tile here. Doing any of the processes, you have, once you're in this face editor interface, you get access to way more complex patterns. Like if I do this is where the complex pattern becomes really tricky. That if I select individual tiles, this gives me actually control of all the tiles that is available inside those skinny ones. So if I click this, and you can see I'm changing the patterns itself one by one. So if this will give you a lot of flexibilities of changing the different tiles, and if you're not happy with the color, and also with this level of control to complex patterns, you can have a lot more, different layout, and based on the different tiles you pick. So it's two combinations provide infinite possibilities of doing different layouts. And also, same with material brushes, you can click on it and apply to the other side of the floor, and it will work as exactly the same way on the floor plan. So I hit save and exit out. And this is our floor paving sections. You can see I've just added 3 sectors into the entire spaces. So this is pretty much about everything that you need to know about the paving sectors. In the future videos, I do want to cover that how can you upload your own textures and be using the floor paving sectors. Okay, that's it for today's video. Thank you.